Okay, forced diversity guys, F around and find out. Princeton is in trouble. Colleges are freaking out. Why? And how is this new? Good question. This is coming from Campus Reform. Actually, pretty cool website. Got a lot of good stuff on it. Colleges beg Department of Education not to investigate Princeton. Investigate Princeton? Why would they investigate Princeton? Because they were so SJW, they were so up their own heinies, they thought they could say, we will acknowledge racism. We will acknowledge systemic racism at our college. And it's serious. Well, the Trump administration opened an investigation into racial bias at Princeton University, saying that the school's recent acknowledgement of racism on campus amounts to a shocking and serious admission of discrimination. So, that's funny because these people really feel like they can just change the culture any way they want to, as long as they get a few college professors to agree along with them, or the dean of the school wants to make this ridiculous statement and just completely avoid all of the rules, all of the laws that were actually passed through Congress, through the Department of Education, to protect people equally, to make this an equal country of equal opportunity. They want equality of outcome, which, as you know, is very different, but very cool. This article today by Campus Reform: Colleges beg Department of Education not to investigate Princeton. Amherst College President Carol Biddy Martin and Wesleyan University President Michael Roth co-authored a letter to the U.S. Department of Education. And I'm sure that's going to work. They'll just allow you guys to discriminate any which way you feel is appropriate and mess people over. I don't think they're going to do that. This letter was signed by presidents at more than 80 colleges and universities. This letter called the department's investigation of Princeton outrageous. If you want outrageous and you want to support me, when I appreciate you doing that, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. It psychs me up to do even more and more videos. More than 80 colleges are asking the U.S. Department of Education to abandon its civil rights investigation into Princeton University. As previously reported in Campus Reform, told you it's a cool website, the U.S. Department of Education launched an investigation into Princeton to see if the university violated Title VI laws. This came after the university president, Christopher Eisenberger, claimed that racism was embedded in their institution in an open letter. You want to see the letter? Let's just look at it for a second. Letter from President Eisenberger on the university's efforts to combat systemic racism. President Christopher Eisenberger has written to the university community to outline the next steps the university administration will take to address systemic racism at Princeton and beyond. What an idiot. What a fool. What a big shot that would just think to provide increased accountability around these goals, we will collect and publish additional data, including an annual diversity, equity, and inclusion report. These are universities that also accept federal funding. They have no business openly discriminating like this because they think they're going to fix and right wrongs of society. It is outrageous and good for them for getting in trouble. Quote, speaking of outrageous, they think it's outrageous that the Department of Education is using our country's resources to investigate an institution that is committed to becoming more inclusive by reckoning with the impact of the present and of our shared legacies of racism, the letter stated. Yeah. Martin and Roth also defended individuals, families, communities, businesses, corporations, and educational institutions that are trying to examine the country's legacies of slavery and racial oppression and the roles they have played in these legacies past and present. As presidents of colleges and universities, we too acknowledge the ways that racism has affected and continues to affect the country's institutions, including our own, the letter continued. We stand together in recognizing the work we still need to do if we are ever to perfect the Union, and we urge the Department of Education to abandon its ill-considered investigation of Princeton University. Well, here's just a side question. Even if you went with the logic of these university professors and said, okay, you guys want to fix systemic racism, you know what? Fantastic. Go for it. All right. Well, then what? They are the new government? How do you know they're doing it properly? How do you know they're doing it fairly? How do you know they're doing it with respect to like all the laws and regulations that we have as an actual country? Because we are a country of laws. So what's their premise? Their premise is, let us do it. We're smart. We'll set the tone. We'll treat people fairly. We'll do what's supposed to be done. So remove the government's ability to protect people's rights and turn it over to these guys? And by the way, are they going to do it uniformly at every college? Or is this temporarily just until there's some sort of socialist or communist takeover of the country where they can centralize everything? I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. The letter has garnered signatures from multiple prestigious colleges and university presidents, including those of Harvard, Columbia. Harvard's in trouble too, for the same sort of reason. Johns Hopkins, UPenn, Dartmouth, Wesley, Williams, Smith, Brown, Cornell, Duke, MIT, Yale, and more. In statements to Amherst, both Presidents Martin and Roth doubled down on what they wrote. These people are so ridiculous. Hold them accountable, fine them, take away their funding, and take away these people's, charge them civilly for this. Charge them financially. Make them pay. You go, Betsy DeVos, the Department of Education. Straighten them out. Along with individuals, families, and communities all across the country, colleges and universities are working to identify, acknowledge, and change the root causes of extreme racial inequities. Well, don't you think maybe you could take your research at the very least and subject it to the rule of law? You're going to take the rule of law in your own hands? And the government's just supposed to say, okay, well, whatever. Why don't you go and start executing people or something? Go and have your own courts. Well, they have some of their own courts for some things at colleges. That's another thing that's out of control. Including racial inequalities in the country, including access to health care, health outcomes, employment, income, wealth, and education. How are you going to impact access to health outcomes at colleges? What's going on? If we are as a country to live up to our fiercely held ideals of equality, freedom, and opportunity for all, our government agencies need to work with us and not against us. Yeah, well, you need to work under them so you can send proposals to government, and government can tell you what's allowable and what's not allowable. That's how it works. We work under the government, and the government is supposed to be by the people, for the people. What are these colleges thinking they're going to get away with doing? They're not. See her pointing? They're not getting away with it. Colleges and universities across the country are rightly confronting the deeply entrenched racism in American society, which impacts our campuses even today, said President Roth. I am looking forward to President Roth being held accountable. The Department of Education's action against Princeton is a cynical political stunt that misrepresents the admirable efforts of an institution. Well, when you say that you're a systemically racist organization, the Department of Education is just supposed to be like, okay, chill, as long as you handle it on your own? What? Like so many of us in higher education, we're striving to do better. Well, that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. I'm glad to have seen this article today. I've heard about the lawsuit. I thought the lawsuit was a great idea. That it's at least an investigation right now from the U.S. Department of Education. Because they're openly admitting they're violating discrimination laws. So, that's not good. That's not good. But I was happy to hear about it. But this is a fantastic update to hear that they're actually freaking out. And just they can send these letters all they want. They'll get some senators to support them. It's not going to help them. It's not going to help them. Submitting to the law is what's going to help them. And they better hurry up and do that before they get themselves in more trouble. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I love your comments. I try to respond to every comment. I pretty much do. And also, if you want to check out some of my work, collegeofthedead.com. Check out my College of the Dead Graduation Day comic, as well as epicmermaids.com. Check out my series, The Mermaids, coming soon. A new ongoing full-color series. We're going to be ready to launch this soon. It is Game of Thrones with mermaids is the easiest way to describe it real quick. I think you're going to love it. It's really, really well done. All right, I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.